Hey guys, it's Danny. Now, both of my kids are officially back to school, so my brain has been in overdrive trying to think up some yummy, nutritious snack ideas for their lunch boxes. So for today's Quick Bite, I'm sharing with you my clean and delicious Paleo Apple Snack Cake. Now, the first thing I'm gonna do is preheat my oven to 350 degrees, and then I'm going to grease a small baking pan. Now, I like to do that by drizzling a little bit of melted coconut oil right into the pan and then spreading it around with a paper towel. Then I'm gonna mix all of my dry ingredients together. So, I've got a nice big bowl, and into my bowl goes 2 cups of almond flour. Now, you could buy this at the grocery store, but if you make your own almond milk, you can very easily make your own almond flour. Just note that if you store your almond flour in the freezer, you're gonna wanna pull it out a little bit before you start making this recipe so you can bring it up to room temperature. A 1/4 cup of arrowroot powder. Now I'm gonna tell you guys more about that in just a second. 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and then 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger. Gives it a little kick. Then I'm just gonna stir this to get all the ingredients mixed and combined. So back to the arrowroot. Arrowroot is actually a starch that is derived from a root. It's very similar to cornstarch in both look and feel, and they're both used as thickeners. As a matter of fact, they are interchangeable. But I prefer the arrowroot because it's gluten-free and it's GMO-free, which we can't always say for most corn products. Now, you'll see it a lot in baking recipes that use almond flour because it actually helps to keep the recipe nice and light. And you should be able to find it in most grocery stores right in the baking section, but otherwise, you can always get it online. Okay, so I'm gonna set that aside, grab a smaller bowl, and combine all of my wet ingredients. So I've got a 1/4 cup of melted coconut oil. Now, if you don't like the subtle coconut flavor, you could also do a melted organic pastured butter. 1/2 cup of raw honey. Now this is what's gonna sweeten the cake. We're not using any refined sugars. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 1 egg. Grab a fork, whisk that all together, and then I'm just gonna pour my wet ingredients right into my dry ingredients and then gently bring it together until it's just incorporated. And then the last thing I'm gonna add here is 1 chopped apple. Now I'm using a Pink Lady. You could also do a Fuji apple, something that's nice and tart and sweet. And then I'm just gonna gently toss that till it's all mixed throughout the batter. Now, just for the record, guys, I have made this with both 1 apple and 2 apples, and they're both delicious. 1 apple, you get more of a cakey experience with little bits of apple. 2 apples, it's almost more custardy because it's like tons of apples kind of hugged by the cake. So do whichever one sounds better to you. Clearly today I am more in the mood for cake. Then the last couple things that I like to do, and these are both completely optional, is sprinkle a little bit of fresh nutmeg right over the top. It just adds that warm fall spice that I love so much with apples. And a teaspoon or 2 of turbinado sugar, which is the sugar in the raw. It's the brown crunchy sugar. And by sprinkling that right over the top, when the cake is done, it gets like this little crunch right on top. Now I'm gonna pop this into my oven for 30 minutes, and you're gonna know it's done because it'll be cooked through and the top will be lightly browned. So now that my apple cake has cooled down a bit, I'm gonna cut into it and give it a try. That is insane. The apples get nice and sweet and tender, just like you're eating apple pie. And then the cake has that really warm fall flavor from the nutmeg and the cinnamon. And I gotta tell you guys, that arrowroot is doing its job because it's really light and fluffy too. You guys have got to try this cake. It would be perfect for a lunchbox or just maybe with a nice cup of coffee in the afternoon. If you guys want to print the recipe, you can head on over to cleananddelicious.com, where you can also subscribe to get all my recipes delivered right to your inbox for free. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm Danny Spees, and I will see you next time with some more clean and deliciousness. Oh, I'm not going to really have another piece. That is delicious. I think it gets better every time. My husband likes to keep the camera on me at the end because he thinks he's gonna get a blooper, but I'm on to him. I've got half, nope, ready?